Hey guys, and welcome back to Spirit Seers Barback. Today I'm going to show you how to make simple syrup, one of the most frequently used ingredients that you'll come across regardless of your cocktail. It's really important and it's a little bit more nuanced than people expect. So we'll take you through how we make simple syrup here in the Spirit Seers kitchen, and then stick around and we'll show you how we also make some of our flavored syrups. Today I'm going to show you how to make cinnamon syrup. It's good for a lot of things. You can put it in your coffee, you can put it on ice cream, but it's great in tons and tons of cocktails, some of which call for it by name. But really you can apply that principle to anything, and so we're just going to show you how that goes. So stick around. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is most simple syrups, unless they state otherwise, are a 1-to-1 ratio with water. Now you can kind of do it like 2 cups water to 2 cups sugar. What we like to do is be a little bit more exact, and so we have this little digital kitchen scale that we like to use, and we'll measure 1 gram of sugar per 1 milliliter of water. So this particular batch is going to be 500 milliliters of water and 500 grams of our organic sugar. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and just pour our water in the pan here. You can see this is a pretty beat up pan. It really doesn't matter. This one is kind of the simple syrup pan. Got our stove lit, and then we're just going to add our sugar. And after we've got our sugar added, then we're just going to kind of gently stir this. You don't want it to burn or caramelize to the bottom of the pan, so you want to keep this moving kind of throughout, just stirring it occasionally. It's also going to help it dissolve a little bit faster. We're going to keep this on fairly high heat until this boils, and that's really what you're looking for. Is you need the syrup to boil to then stabilize the sugar, and that way it won't crystallize once it cools and you've bottled it. So stick around, I'll be right back when this is boiling. Okay, so this has been boiling for a couple of minutes. Really, it only has to boil for that long. You don't want to do it too long, otherwise you'll start to really concentrate your sugar. So I've killed the heat on the stove here. I'm just going to stick our spoon out of the way, and to cool off, so I can get that next batch started and do the cinnamon syrup, I'm just going to pour it into this big Pyrex measuring glass. You don't want to go straight to a regular bottle with this while it's this hot, because it can break, and it's also very kind of dangerous to pour 200 plus degree syrup into an opening the size of a dime. So we're just going to go ahead and pour this into this measuring glass like that, and then I'm just going to set that right over here on the middle of the stove to cool while we get the next batch going. So be back in just a minute. Okay, so I've got my sugar and water combined here. I've got the stove lit again. We're going to keep stirring this just like we did with our last batch, but because this is going to be our cinnamon syrup, I'm just going to take a few cinnamon sticks, usually like anywhere from 3 to 5. I tend to go closer to 3, that way you don't overdo it. So we're just going to take a few of those, and we're going to toss them. We'll do 3 in a really small one. We toss those into our sugar and water mixture. While this is coming to a boil, that's going to allow them to start steeping and let the cinnamon oil start mixing with the water and the sugar. And yeah, we'll just continue along our steps. We'll bring this to a boil, and then I'll be back and we'll go from there. So now that this is boiled, we're going to turn the heat down and just let it simmer. The key to doing this is to let it go for about 5 to 10 minutes. You don't want to keep boiling it because you'll lose too much water, but you also don't want to just turn the heat off. You want to continue to extract those oils. And remember, this doesn't have to be just cinnamon. You can do it with any kind of ingredient. You can do fruits, berries, pineapples, apples. You can even use other liqueurs or liquors. We've made champagne syrup before. You can use other spices, allspice. You can use zest from different, like citrus. You can do all sorts of things. So don't get boxed in, thinking about just cinnamon or other things. You can make herbal syrups. You can use all sorts of stuff. So I'm just going to continue to let this simmer for another 5-6 minutes, and then I'll take it off the heat, and we'll trade it out with our regular simple syrup and let it cool while we bottle our regular stuff. So be back in a minute. Okay, so while this is finishing up simmering, this is cool enough now to bottle. So we like to reuse bottles here just to create less waste. So I'm just going to reuse this old Denizen 8-year Merchant Reserve bottle. I've got my funnel here, and we're just going to kind of pour this right into the bottle. Perfect, almost like we measured it. So now some people will say to put like a couple of tablespoons of like 151 rum in your syrup to make it last longer. But if you really think about it, adding 151 rum, just a couple tablespoons to this much syrup, the percentage is going to be almost nil. So really the best thing that you can do is stick this in the fridge and then use it like within 90 days. If it looks cloudy or has anything in it that, you know, other than just being clear gold syrup or clear syrup if you used white sugar, then throw it away. But we find that generally if you keep it in the fridge, it'll last about 90 days. So there we go with that, and we'll be back in just a second when our cinnamon syrup is cold enough to bottle. Okay, so our cinnamon syrup has cooled off, and we're going to go ahead and bottle that. Again, we're going to reuse a bottle. This is an old empty bottle of Monarch 151 rum with a pour spout because we lost the cap. So we will get our funnel and we'll get to bottling. Okay, now to label our syrups, a lot of times we like to use painter's tape, which is fine. That way you can kind of peel it off and reapply it and use your bottles multiple times. This bottle where we lost the cap, I'm not going to be super worried about that. And instead of labeling it, I'm just going to take a couple of cinnamon sticks and I'm going to plunk them right in here. And then when I look at the bottle later and I see cinnamon sticks in there, I'm just going to know that it's cinnamon. Also, over time, this will add a little bit more cinnamon flavor to it as we go. So I hope that you enjoyed and learned a little bit more about how to make your own simple syrup. Please, for the love of all that is holy, do not pay for simple syrup. It's just sugar and water, and I really hate to see people taken advantage of. You go to the grocery store and you see these craft syrups that are high fructose and all sorts of garbage in there, and they're charging you $6 for a tiny little bottle versus, you know, here we've made 750 milliliters almost of finished product for just a few bucks, and it's going to taste 10 times better than anything you're going to buy off the shelf at the grocery store. So remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got tons of awesome videos for you to watch, cocktails, discussions, gift guides, and we've got lots of great stuff planned. If there's maybe a simple syrup or a syrup that you like to make, let us know down in the comments. You know, we love seeing feedback from you guys on things that maybe we should try or things we can do better. Yeah, let us know. We read all of those. So until next time, keep the spirit, and we'll see you around.